Hey Queens, I'm Bailey. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And today I'm going to be throwing it back. Yes, throwing it back to the Urban Decay Naked Cherry Palette. Basically this is a series that I've been doing where I kind of just, take a blast into the past. Anyways, basically I just talk about like eyeshadow palettes, and I may even start incorporating like other things, but lately I've just been doing eyeshadow palettes. I take older eyeshadow palettes and kind of just talk about the quality of them, was this worth it sort of deal. And yeah, that's pretty much all I do. If you're new here, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and everyone hit that like button because it would help your girl out. So let's get started. All right, first of all, like I love the packaging. Like it is so very pretty. I feel like the packaging on like all the newer Naked palettes after the third one, I think the packaging is just incredible. Like it's just so good, and you're like, dang, that's gotta be a good eyeshadow palette, right? Well, not always, right? Because we have seen some of those Naked palettes and we're just like, and not only that, but I think we're getting pretty far from like, it actually being naked, because when we think naked, we think, oh, nudes, neutrals, like subtle kind of stuff. There's nothing subtle about the Cherry or the Heat palette or any of the other palettes that have been coming out lately. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Because this is the Cherry palette, and of course there's a lot of cherry tones, but that is not like everyday makeup, although for me, I wouldn't mind wearing this as an everyday palette, but for your average makeup consumer, this is not a Naked palette. But that's just my opinion. Maybe other people have different opinions than me, but I just feel like Urban Decay has definitely strayed away from the Naked line. At this point, I feel like this could have just been the Cherry palette. The Heat palette could have just been the Heat palette. The Cyber palette could just be the Cyber palette. Stuff like that. So there's that. And also, I feel like the quality of the Naked palettes have just been hit or miss. The Heat palette, I really enjoyed. I raved about it in my last Throwback video. You're about to find out about the formula of this one, but I'm gonna let you in on something. I do like it. It's not the best. It's not the best, but I don't hate it so much that I want to throw it out. So there's that. But yeah, and then I believe I've tried two of the I think I tried the second and the third Naked palette, and the quality on those I did not think were good at all. They were not good at all. So I just, okay. I bought this palette because I thought it was very beautiful. I love the tones in this palette. I bought this palette because it was on sale on, is it QVC? Pretty sure, because my mom was like, oh my God, look at this palette, it's so pretty on QVC. And I have been wanting it for a while anyways, and I was like, ooh, I should buy that for myself since it's like half off. And then I was like, well, I might as well buy it for her too. So we both have this palette. So yeah, let's get started with the eye look, but first I need to bake. All right, now that I am set at 350, let's get started with the eye look. I'm going to start with Feels, which is this cool toned pink leaning mauve shade. And I'm gonna use this as my transition shade. These shadows are extremely powdery. And they do have quite the amount of pigment to them. Like, you're not gonna be disappointed by the pigment, especially in the mattes. The mattes are really, really pigmented, I feel like. And that was so easy, so incredibly easy. Okay. Next I'm taking Bing, which is slightly darker than Feels, and I'm just gonna go a little lower than what I took Feels, but in the same area. feel like Bing is a lot more purple tone than what Feels is. Feels is definitely got more of a pinky tone. Now I'm going to take the shade Devilish, which is just a couple shades darker than Bing, place it in the same kind of general area, but just, again, going a little bit lower, not taking it up as high. I want to take this shade Drunk Dial. It's a shimmery chocolate brown with like flecks of this cherry thing they're going for. And I'm going to place that on the outer parts of my lid. I find that you have to build up the shimmers like a lot, and the thing about Urban Decay is their shimmers are never gonna be like intense, never gonna be intense. So you kind of just have to be okay with it not being crazy, basically. Whereas some shimmers and palettes, you're like, wow, this is insanely beautiful. These are very much on the subtle kind of shiny side. Which I don't hate, but sometimes I don't love, you know? I don't know. I like it and I don't like it at the same time, but if you definitely don't like it, definitely don't go for these palettes. Then I'm going to take Young Love and I'm going to place it on the center of my lid. Now I know sometimes you can wet metallics or shimmery shades to make them a little more intense, but I just find with the Urban Decay shimmers that it kind of shears them out, like thins them out, and they're still just not even close to being pigmented enough. So it's just best that you use them with a dry brush. With a fluffy brush, I'm going to take the shade Hotspot, which is just a really bone beige kind of color, and I'm gonna buff out the edges. Okay, so I was just gonna do my lower lash line the same as I did my crease like I normally do, but then I didn't do that. So I first took Feels and I ran it all along my lower lash line here. Then I took a dark chocolate brown eyeliner and went across my waterline and a little bit lower. And then I took Privacy and I blended out that eyeliner, and that's how I got this look. Now, lastly, I'm gonna take, what am I gonna do here? Last, I'm gonna take Bang Bang, which is this like pinky shimmery sort of situation, and I want to put this on my inner corner. All right, I'm gonna go finish up this look and I'll be right back. All right, and this is the finished look. I kind of added a little bit more to the eye look. I added a glitter in the center just because I wanted this look to be a little bit more. I think that's the problem that I have with this palette, is that I'm always wanting just a little bit more. The palette alone is not enough for me. So yeah, this is just a palette that always leaves me wanting more. The mattes are pretty decent. They're not bad at all. The shimmers are where it goes wrong for me. The shimmers are very just lackluster. I'm gonna swatch them for you really quick. They're pretty dry, and of course they look so, they look okay on my hand. Wow, that one looks really pretty on my hand. But as you can see, this is the shade that I put on the center of my lid. It is just not like wow enough. They're just really basic. The only one that seems to be like really, really, really beautiful is Ambitious, and it's just a bronzy color. Everyone has that in their collection, you know? It doesn't add anything new or different. And I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that because it's a naked palette. It's not supposed to be anything new or different, but the shimmers just aren't enough. They don't do enough. They always leave you hanging, and then you end up adding a glitter on top of it, and you probably didn't need to, you know? So to completely talk about like my opinions of this palette, it's not a bad palette. This doesn't make me want to completely just toss it out my window and never look at it again. I always just want more with this palette. So, I mean, I recommend it if you aren't looking for intense, crazy shimmers. If you're just looking to add some color to your collection without going too crazy, because I don't find that these shades are very crazy or out there at all. But if you're someone like me who likes to really go there with their makeup, this probably is not a palette for you. You do not have to have this palette. It is not like insane by any means. It's nothing revolutionary. It just has really cool packaging. And I think that's how majority of the eyeshadow palettes are in the market. But not everyone's ready to hear that. All right, that's pretty much all I have for this video without like eventually sounding redundant. So if you're new here, don't forget, subscribe, notification bell, and everyone hit that like button because it would help your girl out. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.